Psychos and sickos unite. It's time for another watch along. Shout out to everybody already in the chat, ready to hang out as we watch Suns Rockets together. We got Kev, Optical Illusion, Russell, Sevens, Melissa, Sunset City, and Meatloaf. Meatloaf says, still better than watching Bender start for 3 years. If you know, you know. Oh, buddy, I know. I'm aware. Were you a Dragon Bender believer? I love that this is what we're getting into right off the bat.
I was not.
You were out.
I was not. I didn't
on the
see
next Kristaps Porzingis.
I did not see the vision.
Were you a Marquise Chris believer?
I saw a role for him, but I didn't see things de-escalating.
You didn't see number 8 overall pick type potential in him?
I didn't see that. I don't know if that really resonated with me even when he was in college.
Yeah, I thought he was decent in college. I was
good
hyped
for sure.
I mean, y'all have heard from me. I'm so easy to get talked into. I have believed in every single Phoenix Suns draft pick since the dawn of time. Like, yes, and I'm not even trying to claim this is like, actually, I knew that Toumani Camara was going to be good, but I watched like one highlight tape of Toumani Camara after they drafted him, and I'm like, I'm in on this guy. Like, I love this guy. This is exactly who we need. I didn't expect him to be this damn good this fast for another team, but it's still fun. Optical Illusion says Suns by 4. I love the optimism from Optical Illusion. What would you put like the percentage chance of the Suns winning this game?
Probably about, from tip-off, probably like 40, 41.
41% at home.
Yeah.
If let's say they were coming off of the Bucks win, and Boston and Minnesota games didn't exist, what would you have put it then?
It probably would have been about 47, 48.
Okay.
They got some work to do, though, needless to say.
I just want to see a fight. Oh,
some fight, I think you meant.
Nano says, yo, fan from the UK here. What's up, governor? Says, tuning in for the vibes, not the match. LOL, expect the worst, hope for the best. I feel you, man. Sometimes those are the best watch-alongs. Like, when we can just sit back and get a little silly, like, those are always fun. I appreciate all of you that reached out with the kind words after the last watch-along.
For sure. We appreciate y'all.
Definitely. This is going to be fun. If you guys have any random topics that you want us to talk about, because Michael says, I thought Josh Jackson was going to be the real deal.
Yeah, I believe in Josh Jackson.
I did too.
I was annoyed that he chose Kansas over Michigan State, but I didn't let that,
the biases.
Yeah, I didn't let that shift the lens that I saw his talent through.
I still think the craziest thing is I'm in on every single Suns draft pick, except for some reason I was not in on Cam Johnson, which is like such a miss by me. Like, I think part of it was just like I was not watching a ton of college ball outside of ASU that year because I was covering them. And I was not expecting them to draft Cam Johnson, right? Nobody was. And I remember I was working at a local burger spot that now has closed down.
He said no free ads.
I could give them a free ad. They closed.
Now you could take
they could use the free ads, very much so. But I was cleaning tables as I did, and I was watching the draft on the TV, and nobody was in the restaurant. It was like the middle of the day, and I banged my fist on the table. I said, "Who the hell is this guy? What are we doing?" I was all in on Dragon Bender and Marquise Chris and Josh Jackson
at that point,
and Alex Len.
I hear you. You lost the belief, especially in something that you didn't really know about.
Oh, for sure. I was happy when we drafted Devin Booker, but I didn't expect him to be this. I don't think anybody really did. Athish says, we are literally catching the Kings now. A full game behind them, but we've been like, going back and forth between a game and a half, whatever. If we lose tonight and the Kings beat the Pacers tomorrow, which Pacers are good, but it's possible, you're 2 games outside of the 10th seed with single-digit games remaining.
Yeah, you have to do your work. You're not in a position where you can effectively rely on other people to do theirs or not do theirs and do it in favor of you. You just need to go do your own job. You have enough work cut off for yourself as it is, and you have things independent of what other teams do that you need to continue to improve upon. And this is another opportunity against a very good second place in the West ranked Rockets team.
For those of you who are new to our watch-alongs here, we're going to be a little behind the game on this stream. We do keep the score up on the screen just to give you a general idea of where we're at. That score sometimes jumps ahead from where we are, so no spoilers in the chat until we've reacted to it. We can react together. Obviously, sometimes it's hard. You want to chat your reaction live, and that's fine. But for big plays, end of quarters, whatever it is, let's try to keep those spoilers to a minimum. Suns win the tip here. Colin Gillespie is dribbling up to the cactus, just crossed half court if you want to sync up with us. How about Colin Gillespie coming off last game, man? I mean, would love to see him do what he did against Minnesota, but not in a way where it's needed because Devin Booker can't do anything as he scores.
It has to be in addition to. It can't be the main dish for sure.
There we go. Book must have been listening to you in the pregame show.
Yeah, a layup
touch.
to start. A paint touch and a layup to start. We love to see it. Everything else should come a little bit easier if he continues to operate in that manner.
I love it. We are less than a minute in, and Meatloaf is already complaining about the refs. I love it.
On brand for March basketball.
Like Meatloaf, it's like a foul's fine. You guys are gonna be ahead of us. It's all cool. Like we're talking about the game here. It's all good. But if it's like the end of the game and it's like last couple possessions, let's keep that to a minimum. But we could talk about the game here.
Yeah, we good.
We chilling. We having fun. God, I wish I had Spinato's pizza for dinner tonight. Okay, Nick. I don't think Kevin Durant's touched the ball yet.
No, he is not.
Love that.
I would have liked a Nick Richards midi there, but that's just me.
The Nick Richards midi is better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, that's not something he really showcased with Charlotte.
I think he's been pretty consistent with it. I liked it.
I like the consistency, but for me, he just looks very comfortable there. So I'm fine when he does take him. He doesn't seek him out in like ways that he's not usually, out of his body. So I'm fine with it.
Nano says, should I read all of Nano's chats in a British accent, like a really bad British accent? I feel like it'd be bad.
That might make him leave.
Can you do a British accent?
Make
No, and not like in a derogatory way, just in a fun way. I want him to feel at home here. Give me your best British accent.
Tuesday, isn't it?
That's very good. Can you do any accents, Steven?
I do not have accents in my bag.
Not in your bag.
Nope.
And there's a poster. Nano says, I think Book just needs to prove himself in big games. Like if he wants to prove he can be a star under crunch. Bang! Okay, Book. I told you, I'm not trying. I was not trying to jinx him at all.
Maybe you were just lighting a fire under him.
God, I'm so in my own head about this whole winking thing. Very much in my head about it. Suns down 7-5, just hit 9:30 on our screen. Book. Ugh. A little bored, though. Never hurt nobody.
There you go. Beating the Rockets at their own game with that.
That was great. You called that shot literally right, but like before it even went in. Katie was midair. You're like, yep, there we go. Scored. Nano says that your British accent wasn't too bad. Yeah. Look at that, Noah. God, I hate Dylan Brooks.
I've never heard that from anyone before.
Milo, if you're a funny person, says, no spoilers, gotcha. Next comment. Something good happened. Oh, funny.
Did not say for who. So
yeah. Share this link with any fellow Suns fan friends. Hopefully the Suns can cut a good one on for us tonight. So far, pretty fun game so far. 9-9, about 4 minutes in. Suns are playing okay. Not great, but okay.
Turning German on me there.
It's a better start than the Minnesota game. And definitely a better start than the Boston game. So.
Yeah. Those are two ugly ones right in a row. Love to see Ryan Dunn not get into foul trouble, especially against a guard like Jalen Green. Oh, yuck. Optical Illusion says, the Rockets forfeited. We won. I wish, man. I wish. And a turnover.
The Thompson twins are just so good at just being underneath the bucket at all times for just easy putbacks.
Yep. That's what they do. And that's why they'll be very, very good, borderline great in their respective roles for the next 15 years.
BC, I need you to get out of here. BC said, "Go Lakers and go Dodgers too." Just absolutely deplorable, despicable stuff from BC.
Yeah, the Suns are beating the Rockets at their game right now. Offensive rebounds, extra possessions. Getting to the 50-50 balls a little bit more. Obviously, the Rockets are up 2 right now, but this is a good start from the Suns in terms of the blue-collar efforts dynamic of the game.
I like like you said, the effort. I feel like the energy tonight at home. Last time they were at home against Boston, they got booed, right? And they got booed following a 4-game win streak and then got their asses kicked on the road and swept against Minnesota. We talk about pride all the time. Show the pride. And I mean, it's early and we've seen this team collapse in a lot of situations where they look fine early. Oh, okay.
That's 3 or 4 offensive rebounds already to start this one.
Scoop play from Ryan Dunn.
So we're talking about you got to win the possession battle, get more shots on goal up than they do, and naturally the Suns will shoot more threes if they do that. That's a formula for success for them, regardless of opponent, but especially against this Rockets team.
There's another offensive board.
And then just like that, they just about evened it up.
An offensive board off.
Yeah.
Maria says, thought long and hard about watching tonight. I decided to watch ... You're addicted, just like all of us, Maria. You're a true psycho and sicko. I got to hit that.
There you go.
By the way, excuse no.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
That's a man. He just came back from, I think it was an ankle injury 2 games ago.
Look too bad.
Well, I mean, just the fact that he didn't get up off the floor for about 20-something seconds.
Yeah, he's limping, but he doesn't look like he's in excruciating pain.
Yeah,
Gonzalez says you look like KD. Says, what is KD doing on this podcast? He's supposed to be on the court.
I wish I was getting buckets like KD right now, but
I wish I was getting paid like KD right now.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll tell you that.
But for back to Amen though, he was out. He was a game time decision against Atlanta the game before last for them. Ended up being a scratch literally right before tip off. I'm not sure if it's pertaining to that same ankle again because he played in their last game, but
we'll see. I mean, he's already made an impact tonight, grabbing, I think, probably, 3 offensive rebounds just by himself so far?
Yep.
And so if he is out for the rest of the game, that's going to bode in the Suns' favor. But I like what I've seen so far.
Make that
4? Sorry, 4 off. My
4.
bad. Amen.
Yeah.
My bad. Please forgive me. But I do like the energy the Suns are playing with tonight. It's just I can't get excited about anything until I see exactly how they're going to approach the whole entirety of this game. And even if they approach it right, Steven, they're playing the Rockets, who are 48-26 and are 7 games above 500 on the road, and we're favored on the road tonight.
Yep.
You know, you can play a great game with good energy and still lose to a good team.
Definitely can. And for me, in this game especially, just kind of keeping it on the topic of injuries, for the Suns, if Amen is not available, in addition to Tari not being available at all in this game, that's their 2 best perimeter defenders, their best big body wing defenders as well. That should bode extremely well in favor of KD and Devin Booker. I think Tari not being available, he's their best matchup for KD. Now it's all on Dillon Brooks in terms of that. And Jalen Green's going to have to chip in there, and Fred VanVleet. Neither of those 2 have the height to kind of keep up with Booker and Durant, especially if they get into their kill spots. That's something that should bode extremely well in their favor. And Booker already starting off this well should help with that in addition to those injuries.
5 quick points for Devin Booker in 6 minutes, 2 of 3 from the field, 1 of 2 from deep. Looks like Oso Ighodaro is going to be checking in. I like Oso. I think that he's going to get dominated on the boards for sure, but he gives you such a different element that I like the look. We'll see who he comes in here for. I'm assuming obviously it's going to be Nick Richards. But let's take a look. Oh yeah, he twisted his left ankle.
I can't remember if it was left or right, but it was definitely an ankle injury.
That looked like enough for it to be an injury in its own right. I've done that. I've torn ligaments that way.
That's tough.
So we have Gillespie, Booker, Oso, Katie, and Dunn, the Rooks, Colin, and the superstars. The Damari says Book definitely going for 50. I hope so, man. I would love to see it, and I totally did not bet against him for any specific reason.
Devin Booker he's stubborn.
Yes.
And that's in the most endearing, complimentary fashion. anytime he may hear conversations or feel like he's not playing up to the level that he should be at, he's typically a player that's shown to respond to those moments and respond in a loud, resounding fashion that sustains across multiple games. There would be no better time in the season for him to flip that switch in particular than right now through these last, 7 games left?
The most beautiful floater in the world. Oso Iguodala. Great pass from Colin. Great presence of mind. Oso yelling it. And you're right. Book has been that guy over his career. But to be honest with you, Steven, like we've seen less of that this year, right? Yeah. Like we have not seen a lot of times as he leaves Dylan Brooks wide open for 3, that he's had a stretch like he's had over the last couple of games where he's so cold from shooting and it just feels like he's out of it. Or the beginning of the season, with injuries aside, like, there you go, man. Show him, Book. I told you I'm buying all the stock. I'm buying all the stock. No, Gonzalez. Grayson Allen is not in the game. He's available, but oh wait, no, it's Colin. Yeah, it's Colin in the game. Grayson Allen is not in yet. Got a good one. 18-18. About to hit 4:45 on the clock. Make sure you guys leave a like if you're new around here. We also do a post-game show as well. We'll most likely take a little break at halftime, and then we will be back for the second half as well. Hopefully the Suns can get a big win over the Rockets. Wow. Okay, so we've each had an air ball on both sides.
Yeah.
A Dylan Brooks and a Ryan Dunn.
Yeah, with Ryan, I know there's a lot to look into from that Minnesota Timberwolves game, but one of the things that I've hinted at with him and Oso is to watch how they play in response to the ways that teams will decide to guard them. For Ryan, teams putting sensors on him and telling him to shoot however many threes he wants to. They don't care about that part. For Oso, teams putting bigger wings against him because he doesn't have a post or paint game and saying that they'll flip all of his screens into switches, which takes away his role and short roll impact. Where else can he find ways to impact the game? Both of those two in those scenarios, finding ways to crash the glass if they're going to be completely ignored about. For Ryan Dunn, obviously, if he's being ignored on offense and finding those angles for offensive rebounds that Bud has allowed him to kind of, when he sees it on field, to go and approach that because that's the way that he brings value to optimize his impact on the game. And for Oso, the same way just on the defensive glass. Or the offensive glass as well, rather, just being a presence in the paint, also being able to space off the drives and be able to get into those floaters like we just saw there, whether he's playing a dunker spot or getting to the middle of the floor. So some things to kind of keep an eye out for, but just generally speaking, if teams are ignoring those two independent of the cross-matching, they have to find ways outside of scoring to have an impact.
And they can do that, and that's why they had such a big impact when they got put back into the rotation.
For sure.
Gonzalez says, I need Grayson Allen for +5 points. What do you think? I could. I mean, I don't know.
That should be money in the bank.
Yeah, I had 2 threes for him. I believe he checked into the game here. Tyus Jones also in.
Yeah, they got the Blue Devils out there together.
Yeah. Huge win over Bama for those Blue Devils.
Yeah.
Jeez, they shut that shit down, huh? 65 points for Alabama.
Cooper is a problem.
Big time problem.
Needless to say.
Nano says, prefer Oso over Richards for sure. Richards just looks lost sometimes. Oso always bringing the effort and the passion, even if he doesn't have the height.
Well, the thing is that you need both of those two to bring what they bring best to the table for both of them to be at their best. It has to be like any one of those little adages that people use, like the fire and ice or whatever other type of contrasting impacts on the game you want to say. They have to have that type of synergy between those two for sure.
They just showed a replay of KD fadeaway mid-range bucket, and it just made me think, what are the most aesthetically pleasing plays in basketball?
Oh, that's definitely one of them.
Definitely. And we can go like specific players, like a KD mid-range,
KD
Steph pull up 3.
KD, well, we just start with Kevin Durant.
How about every single Kevin Durant bucket?
Just shooting the basketball, period. Kevin Durant being spaced and the gravity that comes with that. The 1 and 2 dribble pull-ups, the 0 dribble pull-ups, they're all incredible.
Yeah, beautiful.
Steph shooting anything, yes. Steph's floaters are insane, especially when he puts more touch on them. And they end up arc-wise above the backboard and then just not even touching the rim as they fall gracefully through the net.
Melissa says Kyrie. Just blanket.
Just dribbling the basketball, yeah.
Okay, but let's take the stars out of it. Right, because there are some guys like have a bread and butter. Like the first thing that came to my mind when I'm thinking non-stars is Cody Martin is also in the game right now. So like, So it's Tyus, Grayson, Cody, Oso, and is it Book still in?
He might still be in.
I think it's Book that's still in.
Yep.
Oh no, KD is still in.
Oh, no, KD. Yeah, it's KD.
Sean Livingston, Mitty, Pola.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
That's like the bread and butter if you have to pick a role player who had like a signature shot.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think who else
Ty
has
Lawson crossover?
signature shots. Ty Lawson's crossover was crazy.
Jamal Crawford.
I mean, yeah, Jamal Crawford,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Jamal was insane for sure. Who else? Lou Williams fadeaways out with that left hand. He always goes left like 89% of the time. And the little soft touch fade.
There was some guy that had a little one-leg jumper that he was working on a lot. It might have been young Alpi. Young Alpi Şengün was going to this like a little off-leg, one-leg fadeaway jumper.
Mm-hmm. There's somebody with a hook shot that was always effective in like the mid-2000s.
Not Tristan Thompson.
No.
Hook shot. That was always effective.
It was a hook shot from some like reserve big.
Big.
They used to hardly ever miss it. I'm trying to think of who that is.
I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking. Chris Kaman.
Hey, shout out.
Chris Kaman, the caveman was tough.
Shout out CMU, Central Michigan alum.
I mean, Robin Lopez had a great hook shot.
For sure. J.R. Smith's layup package was crazy.
J.R. Smith had some of the most fun plays in basketball.
His heaters were insane.
Jalen Duran's dunking now is slowly becoming gorgeous because no matter where he is on the court, it's just aggressive every single time.
Maria says JaVale ?
Yeah, I feel you on that. JaVale had a soft touch on. Was it hook shots?
I don't know.
Was it more floaters?
I know what you're talking about. Like I remember.
Yeah.
I remember there being this guy. It's like, hey, this guy's hook shot is just money.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, who was it?
David West Midi was insane.
Yeah, David West Midi's a great answer.
David West Midi was very optically pleasing.
I mean, Michael says Kareem hooks back in the day were unstoppable. That's the OG.
The footwork,
for sure.
The footwork was just dumb. For Noah, Alex Sarr's short roll playmaking is a lot of fun.
Dude, Alex Sarr is having a great season.
Mm-hmm.
Boo-hoo. You know, I opened up a box of cards the other day. The best cards I got,
Alex
all
Sarr?
Alexander Sarr rookie cards. But I actually did open one yesterday with Kevin, and I got Bronny James.
Wow.
2 rookie parallel cards.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Don't show Stephen A. Smith. Jeez. That hook shot question's going to bug the shit out of me.
And I'm trying not to look it up, too. I'm trying to go off the top with it.
White dude?
Nah, it was a black guy.
Oh, man. What's up, Sunset City Hoops? We're trying to figure out there was a backup big or backup level big in the mid-2000s, the late 2000s that had like an unstoppable hook shot. Just went to it all the time.
David Lee's postgame was ridiculous.
David Lee is a pretty underrated player, man.
He was ridiculous, especially before
All-star.
he got traded. Yeah.
All-star David Lee.
Dude was a problem with the Knicks. He couldn't play a lick of defense, but he was a bucket in the paint and on the post especially.
Mm-hmm.
That footwork was ridiculous.
He's kind of like the last of his kind.
Yeah, he was in that. He was in that
player.
dying breed of post players for sure. Him, Zach Randolph,
Al Jefferson.
Al Jefferson is another one I was thinking of.
Zebo.
Yep, for sure.
God, Zebo, lefty, like 15-foot pull-up midi. Oh.
Yep. Couldn't jump over a piece of paper, but would give you 40.
He would.
All twos.
By the way, it's a good game we got going on right now. Not to distract from it. Rockets up 1, 2 minutes, 10 seconds left on our TV. I know the score on our screen's a little ahead. Grayson Allen did score for you, Gonzalez. 2 points. Just need 3 more points for you to hit your bet. I, of course, faded Devin Booker and bet all of his unders tonight because I wanted to play my part in him bouncing back. Nice, Cody. I love Cody Martin, man.
That's for you, right on cue.
Oh, bars, though.
We got a little Mark Jones in me.
Okay. Play-by-play, Stevens. I like it.
Oh,
Play-by-play SPG.
Look like he's fine.
Would you want to do play-by-play?
I would be more
Color commentary?
well, yeah, I would be a lot more color than play-by-play.
I think we'd make a good duo.
I think so too.
I dabbled in a little play-by-play in college.
I think so too.
Can I give you like my old-timey play-by-play voice?
Mm-hmm.
Phoenix Suns dribbling the ball up the court. And it's Kevin Durant getting a screen, pull up, mid-range, Hezzy Jimbo, splash.
Not Jimbo.
That's
an Al McCoy shot right there.
I'll be the sideline reporter.
We go to Noah on the sideline with the latest
man.
on Grayson Allen.
Nah.
That'd be great.
Somebody got
You're
had their
supposed to-
finger
you're
on the
supposed to
mute
take it.
button instantly.
Maria said, did we see the Pistons Timberwolves fight?
Yeah, that's crazy.
We did.
Yes.
Noah's a Pistons
yes,
fan.
Yes.
What did you think of the fight, Noah?
It was amazing. Detroit basketball to its core. We've never had a good team that doesn't consistently get in fights. That's how we roll, baby.
Rich Dog says, Tyson Grayson in the same lineup is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Bud needs to be gone.
Yeah, I feel ways about those two being on the court, but
Oh, good board, Oso.
they got to put the ball in the basket if they're going to be sharing the court together. And
Yeah.
as we see with the Rockets, this is not a possession of it because it came off a miss, but you see who's on the court, Alfred Şengün and Steven Adams. Like we spoke to in pregame, those plus 33.5 in net lineups
The
are insane.
hell is going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and
this
also
is what they do. They play off of stops, and now they're going to be able to set the defense, and they'll be likely in the 2-3 zone.
and it's
Steven Adams in the middle. You see the pickup points from the guards up top beyond the three-point line, and you see how high up the floor Steven Adams and Şengün are.
so I think the worst part about the Tyus and Grayson thing is that they're also sharing a court with the rest of the lineup's pretty undersized.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
Oso is your 5-man
Yep.
against this. And KD's not small, but against Alperen Şengün and Steven Adams, the width
Everybody
there is crazy.
Everybody is, yeah.
And then like Cody Martin's not a small guy, but he's not a huge guy
Mhm.
either.
Mm-hmm.
Billy says Phoenix is so weak. It's get over in the first quarter over Memphis.
And this is what these lineups do for Houston.
get him in a rhythm.
Because you can't grab rebounds. Oh my
oh,
goodness.
what the hell was that?
Because you can't grab rebounds against them, they typically find a way to either get extra possessions or just score. And then the defense stays set, and then you're not scoring or running any offense. So what it's doing is it's just breaking the whatever rhythm you did have prior to it, it's completely evaporated. And they use it to close quarters, and you see this lead that was once maybe 2 or 3 is now on the verge of being double digits.
Maria says not liking the energy the Suns are giving tonight. I don't know if I have as much problem with the energy. I just think the personnel is just not able to keep up.
After basically the first or second time out, it definitely has been going down for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean that. And remember
After
when
they
that was
shifted from the
happening, it's
starting
like let's
lineup.
see how they do it the whole
Yep.
time.
For sure.
Maria also says not feeling this lineup for sure.
Mhm.
Lonnie says this is a game where you play Booker and Katie the entire game. Why is Book on the bench? There's still no sense of urgency. Kevin Durant just pump faked at the end of the first quarter. Milov says never doubt Bud's gut feelings. It's like a magic 8-ball, but worse. Optical Illusion says why does every team score consistently, but the Suns never do? And then Tony says hi. Hi, Tony.
Well, because a lot of teams can play off of some semblance of chaos defensively, whether they're blocking shots, forcing turnovers with steals, getting deflections, or some blend of all three of those things. The Suns are borderline last in steals, borderline last in deflections, and they're like middle of the pack in blocks. So they don't play with a semblance of activity, and it is nearly impossible to sustain in a winning way if your opponents are getting a shot on goal every possession. Like if a team has 100 possessions and they get 100 shots, or they get like 107 shots because they're getting second chance opportunities, that's hard to, like, where are you gonna find a way to neutralize that if you're the Suns? Like, you can't knock down enough threes to keep up with that if teams are getting a shot on goal every time. And then you tandemize that with you also having turnover issues of your own. They grow even louder when you're not taking away any other possessions from your opponent. So that's like the paradox with the Suns. A team that doesn't grab rebounds at like a super elite rate, especially offensively, that gives them extra possessions, but also doesn't play a style of defense that gains them extra possessions as well. It's those marginal back and forths that make teams decent better than they actually are. And that's literally what the Houston Rockets are. The Rockets are just a decent team, but they do all of the marginal things at an elite level, the rebounding, offensive rebounding, scoring off of second chance opportunities. And then they play an event-causing style of defense where they force a lot of turnovers as well. And they also have this wrinkle with the double bigs to play zone and just completely break a rhythm. This is all just stealing possessions. That's all that it is.
Well, I want to steal some likes. Hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to PHNX Sports. Getting close to about 100 people in here. Share this link with your friends. Let's all hang out and watch the Suns together. Oh, I'm in the middle of a move right now. That is stressful. So a little Suns basketball, a little Suns win would go a long, long way right now. What do we think? We win the second quarter, chat? We think we're going to win that second quarter?
They need it for sure.
Wendell says the Kings are trying their best to lose. I think they're just being the Kings.
All right, this lineup with the Suns is one of the switching groups. So you have two wings in addition to Oso Ighodaro that can hold up against Alfred Şengün on the switch. So watch for Cody Martin and Royce O'Neal. Whenever they're brought into action, getting switched on the Alfred Şengün and how well they either front the post or are able to kind of keep him from getting a clean catch and then allow for the defense to kind of shrink the floor on him. That time Oso stays because it wasn't a clean exchange in the two-man action, and Şengün does what he does best as an all-star caliber player this season and arguably all NBA caliber.
See if Royce can continue his hot night.
Yeah,
he missed a shot, but
he hit 7 last game. They probably need a solid 3 to 4 from him.
Oh, for sure.
In this one.
They're going to need whatever they can get. Only 24 points in that first quarter.
Jeff Green, corner threes.
Okay, so Jeff Green.
So when we talk
will he ever retire?
No, because he's getting them checks.
Facts.
He's a great NBA vet. He's one of those Udonis Haslem type of vets, or Kevin Love type of vets now as well. Great personality, great team guy, tons of experience, shows up to work. Can't put a value on those things.
Yeah, I think I'm done with Tyus Jones in this game. Personally, I think I'm okay. Suns legend Aaron Holiday.
I had a lot of fun with that run he had in 22.
Yeah, man. I would have liked to see him stay on this team.
Doesn't get a chance all season, gets until like March, and just immediately comes in.
Contributes.
Knocking down threes, getting paint touches, and guarding players 94 feet.
That's some of the most fun stuff with that.
Yep.
Okay, Tyus, sure.
Mm-hmm. Knew that was going to happen.
That's one of my favorite things in basketball. It's like you like the Colin Gillespie story this year, right?
Same thing. Yep.
Start of the season, you got no place in the rotation. Maybe you're in the G League, whatever it is. And then by the end of the season, you have become somebody who has established a spot in this league. You got to keep earning it. But Aaron Holiday helped put himself on the map as an NBA player, which is hard to do in any capacity.
For sure.
Whew, that is a tough shot.
But my point with that shot, how did it get set up? Tyus Jones initiating, Devin Booker starting from the baseline, getting a pin down. They mess up the switch, and he's able to find a little bit of a pocket, but it's a tough two, but he's getting to the tough twos after a couple of layups, couple of free throws, couple of wide open shots. He's able to make those shots whenever he wants to, but it's a matter of the setup.
Miss a free throw. But the tough middies are never the problem with Book at all, who has 9 points right now, has only missed so far just one shot.
Yep.
I mean, I like it. He's almost tied his scoring from the Timberwolves game.
Mm-hmm.
God, Alperen Şengün sees food in Oso Ighodaro.
Yeah.
Raven says, if I was better at ball handling, shooting, and layups, I could make the NBA. Sure, man. Maria says, just want to see more of this from Book. Yeah, I think we've all wanted that.
Keep an eye on Fred VanVleet, the way he's guarding Cody Martin right now. He's just completely shading off him. Half closeouts. He doesn't really care about him shooting threes in particular. And if he does, that's to the favor of the Rockets because now they get to start to transition. Now you got Cody Martin switched on to Alfred Şengün. Obviously, also switched on to Fred VanVleet. Good job on the double from Devin Booker. And now it's just bleeding away the shot clock. There's only 6 seconds left. They haven't really even broke the free throw line yet. They finally do. That's a shot the Suns live with, whether he makes it or not. It's taking place with 3 seconds left on the shot clock. They've run no offense. They have no movement. It's just a tough shot from a good three-point shooter.
Yeah, I mean, again, Houston is an all-around great team, and they're the type of team that doesn't mind playing slow because they could play slow and get an offensive rebound, because they have these athletes that can grind it out and take advantage, and they have some shooting as well to go along with it. Like, this is a team, in my opinion, that is built to play playoff basketball, even though they haven't proven it really yet. But it's so hard because everybody's like, oh, they haven't proven it. It's like a lot of times, people have to prove it for the first time, so it's a good test for the Suns, but sometimes you don't want the good test to happen when you are at risk of failing.
For sure. I just peeped this right now. I don't know if anybody else did earlier, but also has a wrap on his right hand. That's something that affects your shooting in particular. If you got anything that's just in the way of your actual skin being on the ball as you let it go, keep an eye on that with the three-point shot. And just generally, again, with that coming with how teams are ignoring him when he's spaced off of KD or Devin Booker. He checks in for Cody Martin, and he's going to get the same type of coverage on the other end. Suns mix up a defensive rotation with no communication. Jeff Green knocks down another three from the opposite corner.
45-31.
Yeah.
Brick from Ryan Dunn.
He doesn't look comfortable with his release with that wrap on his hand. Good job from Nick Richards. Got to go get the basketball, and that's what happens when you don't. Another Tyus Jones deflection, by the way. And talk about the effort with him. Talk about him not being able to guard or contain. He's been good using his hands to get deflections for them defensively. You got another Devin Booker midi pull-up. They got to get some stops, though. They need one of – this is the perfect time for those kills that I talk about, getting 3 stops in a row. And obviously scoring off of those stops as well to kind of shrink this deficit that they're at right now.
And when they played Boston and they were hanging around with Boston.
Get it done, Royce.
Ooh. When they were playing Boston and they were hanging out and around with them until the end of the second quarter, Boston started to balloon this lead before the end of the half. And for the Suns, I'm like, you need to make a run here or else you're not going to have anything that you can do because Boston's not the type of team to give up this lead. Yep. Houston's kind of cut from the same cloth mentally, and they're not as good as Boston, so the Suns will have a little bit more of a window to come back in. But you don't want to drop down. You don't want to drop down 20 anytime, but 20 going into the half is a lot different than 12, a lot different than 10.
Yep.
Right?
And an air ball from Shangoon.
He seemed a little roughed up. Yeah. Tony asked if he's going to see me yell at the screen today. Probably not. Probably
Unless
not.
You get a game winner.
No, I scream only for the good things now, so I don't even scream that often anymore. Ugh.
I think Nick Richards got a foul on that one, and that's because, like, I continue to harp on. People say they want to see more from Nick. I say I want to see more from the people around Nick so that Nick doesn't have to do too much. Ends up getting another foul because Royce can't guard Shangoon, or it's just too close to him outside the three-point line. Devin Booker's got his touchbacks from the midi so far in this one.
That's at least one good thing from this.
Him scoring the basketball, for sure. You're going to need that whether it's a close game or not.
What up, Kevo, Brad, Rich Dog, Fourth and Long,
God,
Richard,
Shangoon.
Tony. Shangoon just going for it.
Showing off all the handle right now.
He going for it, man. I just tweeted the, shit. Here we go again.
Shout out CJ.
Big GTA guy?
Yeah. San Andreas more than any of the other ones just because, I mean, that game was like limitless. It's like it never gets old.
Are you the type of dude that are you going to complete the story, or are you just going to drive around and
complete
do
the
whatever
story
open
and
world?
then get to the online play and whatnot? Yeah, for sure.
I just love the driving in that game, like especially the new one.
Yeah.
Or the new one, the latest one. There is no new one. But just cruising as fast as possible and trying to weave your way through the cars. Oh, it's so much fun.
You know how long that GTA 5 has been out at this point?
Over a decade at this point, yeah.
Yeah. 10 years. You know it's made the most money out of any media ever, including books, movies, anything.
Is it GTA?
Yeah, it's made like $8 billion.
Makes sense.
GTA 5.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because they keep updating.
I'm not surprised by that. I'm surprised it's number 1, but it didn't it's not shocking though. Everybody loves GTA.
Kevo, also known as Kevin, coworker here, says SBG and the G stands for gamer.
Not like that. I used to play video games a whole lot more when I was probably before my senior year in college, and then after that, I had to lock in on this little thing of mine that got me to where I'm at now. So, little sacrifice.
The marathon.
For sure.
Michael with a $1.99 super chat says, "R.I.P. to the Suns."
I mean, they still got a lot of time left in this one.
I don't know. I mean,
but I hear you though, for sure. I definitely hear you. I'm not mad at anybody that says they either gave up or don't believe in the Suns this season, because they haven't given them much of a reason to restore that. So
Kevin saying that how I described whipping around in GTA is how he drives in real life.
I can confirm that.
No, I can too. Have you been in a car with him?
I haven't been in the car with him, but
seen him drive?
I've left work at the same time.
Yeah, me too.
I mean,
he's like LaMelo pulling out the...
No, like legit, he scared the shit out of me the other day.
I'm talking like damn near 70 on 7th Street. I'm like, bro, what?
Like, but also we're joking. That's not real. But
no. I
did see him cut across 3 lanes of traffic in like half of a second. He was behind me. He scared the shit out of me. I wasn't going to bring it up, but he's admitting it. So Maria says, I don't think Book ever lost his mid-range touch. I just think he pushes the 3 too much too soon sometimes and doesn't give himself a chance to get to good rhythm with his bread and butter.
My thing is, it's the contested twos. And again, it's about him. Like, what's the approach? Is he taking contested twos off rip, or is he finding a way to get to like the snake to a midi pull up like we just saw before that last time out? It's like a difference in those where if you're not seeing a hand in your face right away and you're able to get your rhythm flowing, Maria knows as well as I do. Like that's as a confident shooter, as a confident scorer, you're just gonna build off of that versus kind of having it like stagnated a little bit. Now you're a little uneasy, you starting to hesitate on your decision making on your shots, and now it's at the detriment of the offense.
Knights asks, y'all think this is the worst fail in NBA history considering how much money they spent? I think it's one of.
Off the merit of numbers, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, it's the most expensive payroll
in history
of all time.
Mm-hmm.
So to not even make the expanded quote unquote playoffs, aka the play-in, when 67-ish% of your league makes it in, not good.
Not good at all. And mixing it up now with the double big lineup going man for a couple of possessions. Suns have no rhythm, and that's because of the ways that this double big lineup is weighing on them on the glass in particular.
Would we like to see Plumlee out here at some point tonight?
Yeah. Zero Dark 30 says, is Plumlee hurt? Why is Royce guarding Şengün?
Well, he's guarding Şengün because they have double big out there. You don't want to always react to what your opponent is doing lineup-wise. You still want to stick to your guns, but if your guns are not firing, obviously at some point you have to kind of break the glass.
That's just like, you can't fucking win with Mike Budenholzer, dude. You just can't. It's so annoying. Like, he'll play Mason Plumlee in the worst matchups, and he'll stick to him and play him the most out of any center. And you know what? I could see a role for him out there tonight. At least try it, right? Try it, throw it out there, see if, him and Steven Adams got into it before, and that was, physical and kind of fired the team up last time this team played. Sevens in the chat says everyone bullies the Suns in the paint. I think Mason Plumlee's had a fine season. I don't think he's had a great season, but he's been okay as a backup center. But of course, tonight, when you're like, you know what, maybe there's a role for him, you don't see his ass out there on the court.
Yeah.
What if his role is just go out there and get Steven Adams fouled out again?
Yeah. Girth Jr., completely changing the subject, says, Eric, do you think we're the only life in this universe? So, I do not. Statistically speaking, with how large the universe is, and we're talking the universe, right? Think about just our galaxy. And then literally every galaxy and every planet in every galaxy, it would be nearly statistically impossible for Earth to be the only home for life as we know it. Now, do I think that there are like aliens that are going to like fly to this planet? A, why the hell would they want to come here? B, I don't think that would happen. But I do think that there is life in other places personally, just based off of like statistic anomalies.
There is an alien in San Antonio.
That is true.
There's an alien in Phoenix if you're talking about that.
AZBG602 says, yeah, I'm over this shit. Suns are shit, and I'm fucking sad.
Heard
that.
Definitely not the only life out here,
No.
that's for sure.
Wendell says, Suns have a better chance of beating the Kings or Mavs if they make it to the play-in. A healthy both teams, it's
Dallas.
Kings.
It's Dallas.
You think they have a better chance of beating Dallas than Sacramento?
It's Dallas.
Even if they have AD?
It's Dallas.
Ooh, even if they have AD?
Who's their second best scorer? Exactly.
If they're fully healthy?
Exactly. Who's guarding anybody from the Suns and the Mavericks?
Najee Marshall.
AD on Kevin Durant. Who's Najee Marshall going to guard? If
They'll
AD's on KD?
probably put Najee on Book.
That's not good for the Mavericks.
I'm not saying the Mavericks are good.
I don't think they can keep up with
a healthy AD presents a bigger problem than any Zach LaVine, Sabonis, DeRozan. And plus, you have to think about the history that those two franchises have playing in big games against each other.
Yeah, but that history is with a whole different context of the roster. Now, and then none of those pieces are even like around right now. Even Maxi Kleber is not around to tend to that matchup no more. Like, so it's not even the same no more, unfortunately. But
personally, I think I'd rather face the Kings or the Mavericks, but the Suns could very easily.
I would just rather see the Suns not beat themselves in those matchups. They don't do that, they probably win the game.
Well, they might not get to that.
That's
matchup.
the easy answer, but yeah, for sure.
Pablo says, Wendell, they're not making it, so don't worry.
I mean, right now he's right. They keep trending this direction. They're definitely not.
Digital Dope Exclusive says, do you think Beal is hurt, or do you think he has given up and is waiving his no trade clause? I'll be honest with you, I don't think there's ever been a moment that Bradley Beal hasn't been hurt. But I think that if the Suns were in a position right now where they were maybe fighting for a higher seed in the playoffs, or if this was a playoff game or a play-in game, I do think that Bradley Beal would be available. But I think that they kind of understand where everybody is right now.
There's definitely some playing of the injury report, in my opinion.
For sure. Michael with a $1.99 super chat says, James Jones' vision is broken and he needs to go.
Yeah, I mean, I've spoken to not really understanding what his vision with the roster is a few times this season. I won't say he needs to be let go because naturally his contract expires after this season. I think there is a role for him with the team for sure. Mm-hmm. But I think if you have someone with a different vision, a more evolved vision in terms of the current NBA, and someone that also has better avenues to execute upon that vision, I think the Suns could greatly benefit from a new voice, a breath of fresh air, someone that has a proof of concept with their vision matching with winning and changing things for a roster, even if a roster was already good when he kind of got it in his hands.
Yeah, I think James Jones has had a couple good. That's an interesting graphic that's on the screen. Are we zoomed in?
No.
The hell is that? Anyway,
Noah said he did not make that.
As people, and Noah, you can confirm this. As people who work in this industry, like that's the type of shit that you see, and you're just like, what the hell?
I do overall like the Suns branding.
Oh, me too.
I think it's very.
That was like the one mishap that I can notably remember all season.
Yeah, I get what they're going for. It just didn't work.
Same thing as the Suns.
Ric Flair's back, by the way. Woo! Says, okay, boys, let's take a look at the roster of the Houston Rockets and see what you won back in a KD trade.
Oh, we definitely hashed that out already, but I'm not selling for anything less than Tari Eason, Jabari Smith Jr.
I want my picks.
Cam Whitmore and the picks.
Tony says,
I feel like the Suns could certainly ask for more if they really wanted to, but naturally, if KD is asking out, you have no leverage, and I feel like that's about as good of a return as you can get.
Tony asks if we have heard of Kareem Lopez.
Not sure.
I think
Here we go. Here we go.
Hey, Dylan Brooks fighting. What a surprise.
Yep. But again, teams are only comfortable acting in these ways.
He's out of here.
Yeah, he's done. He's definitely done.
Yeah.
Teams only are comfortable acting these ways because look at when it's happening. They're almost up 20 right now.
Yeah.
Like
I believe
there's a mental component to it, which is why it's kind of happening so often. But excluding the Dylan Brooks moment, because we know he's always kind of a little off the rocker with it.
Yeah, he is definitely off his rocker. Would actually like him on my team, but he's off his rocker.
1,000%. Yes.
I believe Kareem Lopez, if I'm not mistaken, is potentially
foul number 1,
the first.
foul
Is he
number
the first
2, foul number 3.
Mexican player that could go number 1 overall?
What are we doing here?
He's a really, really talented prospect, I believe, out of I think Mexico or some Latin American country, and I think he went to go play in the NBL. Tony, let me know if that's right, because that name's. I guess I could just look it up, because that name sounds familiar. Okay, 17-year-old, 2-year project player as the next star with the New Zealand Breakers. Okay.
There's a lot of basketball talent down under.
It's from Mexico. Yep. Dude, yeah, the NBL is great. What do you think about the...
On both sides, the women's and men's side. Tons of gyms over there right now.
What do you think what do you think about Adam Silver saying that he's looking at expansion in Europe? Or, like, not expansion, but a Europe league before expanding to Seattle and Las Vegas?
Well, that's something they've been hinting at for really since Adam Silver came into being a commissioner, trying to expand overseas. They've had the Basketball Africa League ties. They had the whole thing they were doing with the preseason, or not even preseason. It was like a summer game where I remember one season, it was president of the Players Union then, Chris Paul and Luol Deng, were kind of spearheading a lot of the ties there, tapping into more talent in the African countries.
Yeah.
And like that's become a big thing. J. Cole played
South
over
Sudan.
there. There's been a lot of different players and other talent that's been discovered by playing in the Basketball Africa League. So there's a lot coming from there. We've seen the African teams be better come Olympic time naturally because of these ties and being invested in terms of their basketball skill and facilities.
Yeah, I mean, basketball, I think the biggest thing with a lot of sports everywhere, it's accessibility, you know? And that's why, like, when you look at places that are really good at soccer or football, whatever you want to call it, you see they have academies for it. Like, it's very, I guess not easy because those cost money, but it's easy to get access to go play that. Well, basketball in America is becoming a lot harder to gain access to playing high-level hoops, whether it's AAU and you have to pay for travel teams and pay for shoes and pay for court time and pay for whatever it is, right? Like, it's starting to become less and less, available for kids. And that's why I think you're starting to see, like, you want to know why? Beyond just the genes that former players' kids are making it to the league is because they also have the resources and the funds to be training and to be, getting access to all sorts of things. And so when you look at other countries who don't have any infrastructure at all to play basketball, you give them, hell, dude, a court, a ball, it changes so many people's trajectories. And like, think about like Joel Embiid, like growing up, like playing basketball and his journey and everything. Like, you can find more Joel Embiids, and grow that.
Think about how many
Lonnie, we're not doing good. Says I'm still here. How we doing? Not good.
Think about how many players we've seen that have come from Africa in some capacity that noted that they hadn't started playing basketball until 14, 15, 16, and they kind of make it to relevance on the NBA circuit because of their physical capabilities, and then they have to have the skill ramp up and start to match it over the course of their career, but it's not happening until they're almost 20 years old. Like, imagine if those players were invested in and now they have the skill refinement that countries like America and Europe have from like 5 or 4 or 3 sometimes.
Well, and when you like look at like Joel Embiid, I remember a highlight going viral when he was playing in like JV of him like just completely missing, like going underneath the backboard. Like, stuff like that is like, yeah, man, like, he hasn't been able to play like organized basketball. Like, and now he's learning how to play organized basketball.
Yep.
I would like to cover basketball in Europe. I think that'd be fun. I think international basketball just sounds like so much fun to me.
Yeah, it's very different in terms of the brand of basketball it is, but if you like movement, sets, actions, a ton of nuance, like, they have all of that and then some over there in Europe. Honestly, most of the style of play that we see from the NBA, it derives from Europe. Spain pick and roll, literally is in the name.
Yeah.
Like there's so many
where
different.
did we get that one from?
Yeah, exactly. There's so many different actions that even the Suns alone run that derive from European basketball that coaches adapt and then reverse engineer for the NBA game. Happens all the time. Yeah, that was wild.
We are just too small. Plain
Well,
and simple.
the effort hasn't been there either, though. Definitely too small, but that's not something that we didn't know coming into this matchup.
That ref ate it.
Yeah.
Wait, was that Bill Kennedy that fell?
I couldn't tell. If he's on the base, yeah, that was Bill. That was Bill for sure. Yep.
He does have a flair for the dramatic. 3 minutes left. Suns are down 18 on a fast break here. Turnover. Woo!
Yep.
Seven says painball. Maria says, how are the Rockets up 20? Well, Maria, because we
turnover after
suck.
Turnover after second chance opportunity after third chance opportunity.
And by the way, Katie and Nick Richards both got technical fouls.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Oh my gosh, man. Richard said, I understand we're talking dream jobs right now, but why are there so many damn Suns guards on the court?
That's been all season long, though.
The Mike Budenholzer special.
Find you someone that loves you as much as Mike Budenholzer loves his guard
undersized lineups. God, I am so over Mike Budenholzer. Oh, remember when we won 4 in a row? It's like, oh, what's he going to have to do to save his job?
He started 8-2.
That feels like genuinely
last season.
Yeah. Last like 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy, man. You haven't been in Arizona for a whole year.
Nope. It's only been like 5.5 months.
Dude, 5.5 months is crazy.
There's been a lot that's happened in
a lot that's
months,
happened in those 5.5 months. Fourth and Long says this team is a huge, embarrassing failure.
Not wrong on that.
Maria says, I'm starting to regret my decision to watch this. You want to be me, but you can't. Says the sorry Phoenix Suns, laughing emojis, thinking emojis, thumbs down emojis, mad face. Pete says players believe the public hype after their 4-game streak. I don't know. Maria says, why the hell did Book just hesitate twice? Aaron Phoenix 1 says, LMAO, we not getting LeBron or Junior. We don't want him. Well, I would take LeBron personally. I like LeBron. Lucas says his team just needs to wave the white flag and put in the bench. Give Book and KD more than a summer to rest. They clearly need it.
Yeah, I mean, rest is not an issue with those two. They're not gonna just not play.
Yeah, they want to play.
But I hear it though. I hear you.
Kyron says, remember, 26 teams would love to have this roster.
Facts.
Oh, Kaylee says the regret of coming in person is so much worse. Kaylee, are you there right now?
If Kaylee's at the game and tapped in with us, super soldier salute to that.
Hey, we know who the best, most consistent show in town is, huh?
Big facts.
Huh?
That's
why there's so many wonderful people in here still hanging out with us, watching the game. We will take a little break at halftime. There'll be some nice, smooth music to calm your soul. In the meantime, make sure you are back for the second half. In the chat, they're asking for Bowl.
I would advise take this halftime to tend to yourself, however you may desire to do so. Whether you meditate, whether you inebriate, whether you drink, whatever your
take care of yourself.
Take care
of
yourself.
Get drunk, get high.
Take care of yourself. Go for a walk outside. It's very nice outside. Do what you got to do.
Rick asked me, Eric, do you really think a coaching change would fix the problem? It's a roster problem. James Jones needs to go. Let a GM pick his guy. I think it's twofold. And I've said it. I've been very, very loud, shocker, with my advocacy for the Phoenix Suns to move on from Mike Budenholzer. Even though he's the third head coach in 3 years, they'd be hiring their fourth head coach since Kevin Durant got traded here. But by no means is Mike Budenholzer the only problem. And I do believe that there needs to be a new GM. I think James Jones has a role in the front office. I think that he has some skills as far as player relations, drafting, all of that. But I need somebody else leading the charge. Shoot.
There you
Hit
go.
it. There we go. Teddy says, with a 499 super chat, good to see you, Teddy. Why does the ball never find KD when he comes back in after a rest period?
I think that speaks to the lack of identity that the Suns have.
Oh. Okay, Oso.
I hope
Damn.
Jalen's
Oh,
okay.
shit.
That was not a
Yeah.
good-looking fall at all. 5-on-4, guys. There you go.
Wide open, Devin Booker, brick. Awesome.
I guess he's okay. Highlight dunk coming. Yep, he's fine.
Aaron says, my girlfriend is watching My Big Fat Greek Wedding while I watch. The music to this is hilarious. Those are two. You know what, Aaron? I think you're the first person ever to be watching a PHNX Suns watch along while also watching My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Or just any movie.
Dude,
we appreciate it.
That is something that
dedication.
I don't know why, but I think about like a lot. And maybe it's because we are blessed to have unique jobs.
Mm-hmm.
But like sometimes I'm like, I'm the only person who's ever done this specific set of things in this order ever. Right? Like, it's just so stupid. But for some, like, it means something to me for some reason. Apparently the Suns are getting booed.
As they should be.
Kaylee, you're there and you're in chat. Can you confirm that there are boos in the stadium?
Oh my goodness.
Hey, how about this? How about there's boos here? Boo! 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 Oh, Tony says fans booing like crazy right now. Boo!
74 points to the Rockets in the first half.
I'm gonna do the entire post-game show. Boo! Fuck it, let's just start the post-game show now.
As we just kind of round out the first
Boo!
half. 36 points in the paint for the Rockets already. 21 bench points, 14 points off turnovers, 15 fast break points, 14 second chance points. Biggest lead, 29 so far.
This is fun.
Almost all of their starters were in double digits until Dillon Brooks decided to exit stage left early. But he finished with 8, so.
Man, everybody's saying the boos are loud.
They should be.
Wow.
You can't bring this product of basketball home after a season already that's been severely underwhelming.
75 fucking points. Are we serious?
Not ideal.
Ooh, Milo says Mike Budenholzer.
That's a good one.
Kaylee says, good thing there's also a lot of cheers for the Suns too. Aaron says, you guys made my night. Thank you. That's why we're here. And that's why, hey, guess what?
Nah, Aaron, you made our night with these blue collar efforts
For
you putting
real.
on display.
I mean, double
keep
teaming
the house
my
together.
Big Fat Greek Wedding and
Keep the house together by spending time, but also tapping in with us in any capacity. We appreciate it. For real, for real.
That's funny, Tony.
Big salute to you.
Yeah, double Mike Budenholzer's in the chat. Woo!
Sheesh.
2 points! Yeah! Woo! This fucking sucks, dude. This sucks. We are gonna take a break. 78-49 is the final score at the end of the half. Make sure you guys stick around. We're gonna be taking a little break, and then we will be back. We'll be watching the second half, and we'll be booing together. So hang out with us then, please. Thanks. Bye. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. The Suns are back, and man, do they suck.
They need some Mando.
They're really stinky and bad. Look at that.
There you go.
Colin Gillespie gets fucking erased, and we're back. 78-49. It's Steven, Eric, and Noah behind the Mac, making all of the magic happen. Şengün wants to put somebody on a poster tonight.
For sure.
What were your thoughts of the first half?
I'll keep it short, simple, sweet, and to the point. In the wise words of Kendrick Lamar, I'm sure y'all know where I'm going with this one.
It's not enough.
It's not enough. Not even a little bit.
I'm changing the headline to the watch along to Phoenix booed as Houston Rockets dominate lowly Suns.
You could also change that to simply not enough.
Yeah, Leah says, I'm convinced every time you do a watch along, the Suns lose by an astronomical number.
Unfortunately, we haven't really had much of a choice because they've been doing that so frequently.
I will say the 4-game stretch where they played like awesome, we didn't do one. So it's all our fault. But also they got stomped in Minnesota. Maria goes, I'm back. Facepalm. 4th and long says fans should walk out. How do you feel about the boos?
They're appropriate.
You feel like it? Like, I know there are some people who are like, you should never boo your team at home. I don't feel that way.
I mean, if I'm investing in something and the product is not up to par or even close to a semblance of what I'm expecting or what the dollar amount is asking or demanding, that's the only way they can really express themselves. You can't get a refund.
Oh, yeah.
And you also can't get back your time either.
And this ain't the Suns games as of old, where you're not going to boo when you're paying $15 to get in. You're paying hundreds of dollars to see this game.
And I'm just imagining being a parent, and I brought 2 kids and a friend or cousin.
Hey, hot dogs are
siblings.
Cheap,
that's one thing, but
I will say I went to the D-backs game. I went to opening night, and I was very grateful for Matt Ishbia when I went to buy my concessions. Bought 2 waters, fries that were terrible, and a beer. Guess what my total was for 2 waters, fries, and a beer?
On the high extreme or low extreme?
Just guess.
42.
I was going to say about 35.
Yeah, $43.
Wow.
It was $8 for a small bottle of water.
That's insane. Imagine having to drink water.
Hello there, who's a Rockets fan who was there in our pregame show. Thanks for being there. Hello there. And if it's a reference to hello there, then good name. Says, I feel bad for you guys. Brother, don't feel bad for us. We feel bad for ourselves enough. Well, says respectfully, and now I'm waiting for the secondary comment on that. Because I think
that is it.
Yeah. Well, respectfully. Erica in the chat, your co-host for PHNX Mercury. Man, that's going to be a fun season to watch.
Looking forward to it. What up, Erica?
Merc season's going to be electric city.
And got another episode coming up this Thursday. Anybody that's interested in watching professional women's basketball, now is a great time to get started with that. Erica and I got you covered on that part. What up?
Anybody who's interested in watching professional basketball, because I think there are a lot of people who have not dipped their toes into the W yet.
I agree.
And they love hoop.
And
if you love basketball, if you love college basketball, if you love any level of basketball, watch the W, man, and watch the Mercury.
Tons of parity. It's a different brand of basketball. It's a lot more skill. It's a lot more, how can I say this without degrading the NBA side? It's more, I won't say more strategic because they do use strategy on the NBA side, obviously, but it's more X's and O's than it is one-on-one play, isolation play. Like, you only have about maybe 6 or 7 players that run a relevant amount of isolation.
Would
it's a lot more
compare
team style
it to, like,
basketball.
Overseas?
Nah, it's still different from that.
Because with the overseas ball, like we were saying, it's more team oriented, more X's and O's oriented, like that.
Yes, but no. And because there's more varying styles, I feel like it's a little bit more up tempo in general with European basketball right now, or just overseas basketball in general. There's a lot of different styles, your different flavors that you get in the W.
God.
You got your superstar teams that play slow, teams that play fast. Some teams shoot a lot of threes. Some teams take a lot of twos, a lot of middies. You still got post players relevant that are all-star caliber players in the W. So it's just a different flavor of basketball.
And some just elite. I know we said it's not just, individual athletic talent trying to overcome, but you have some of the greatest individual talent that the league's ever seen all at one time. Obviously, Asia Wilson is just an electric factory. Caitlin Clark, we all know about Caitlin Clark. And if you're not watching women's college hoops right now, and you're not watching UConn, you're missing out on
Paige Buckets.
Paige.
Her last name is Buckets.
Yeah.
40 of them.
AZBG says, what the hell are they doing? Sucking at basketball. Okay? They suck. This team sucks. They're terrible. Awful. Vomit-inducing, some might say. This might be a post-game show that gets clipped quite a bit because I'm going to say some things.
We got that ISO lined up, Noah.
Yeah. Pete says, how are your Bet365 wagers doing so far?
Well, Suns probably ain't getting the 110 the way that they're trending right now, so I'm popped. Everything else looks decent, if not well on the way to being hit.
Funny enough, Book is gonna hit.
Yep.
He's got 24 points. I think I had him at under 24.5. But I did give out 3 picks over at Bet365 for Devin Booker. I said under 2.5 threes. Book only has 1. And I said over 2.5 turnovers. Book has 4 turnovers right now. And the Rockets win. You parlay that together, which I guess I should have, would have been a plus 500.
Solid little return.
So that's still there. So we want to play a game?
Yeah, sure.
I want to. Do you want to do a little Q&A with the chat? Any question? It doesn't have to be basketball related. Q&A. Ask your questions. We will do our best to answer. We had Girth in here asking if we believe that other life exists in the universe. Yeah. Let us know. Megan says I have great opinions. Thank you.
I've been told that I have great pinions.
Yeah. What do you think is your best opinion?
No, pinions.
He said pinions.
Pinions. What's opinion?
I don't know. But it is something. I do know that.
It's a Noahism.
No. Where did it all go wrong for you?
Oh, my
Wedgie!
goodness.
It started
Still seems
back
very
in
fitting for tonight.
2005.
What happened in 2005?
Actually, no, 2008. I think 2008 is more realistic.
What happened in 2008?
I was playing flag football, the NFL Flag Football League near me, and I was the Detroit Lions. We went undefeated, won the championship, and in 2008, infamously, the real Detroit Lions went 0-16.
Did you think you and your team could beat the actual Lions at that age?
Yes, without a doubt.
All right, we got some questions.
I expected for sure.
Wow Factor asks, is Durant finished? No, Durant is not finished. I know that you don't like Durant, Wow Factor, but no, he's not finished. Sunset City wants to know, what are our personal favorite movies that we've ever seen?
That's a great question.
Can I be honest with everybody? Can I share a
think.
personal flaw with everybody?
Go ahead.
If we're just all, friends here. Whenever anybody asks me what my favorite is of anything, food, book, movie, artist, song, and Megan can attest to this, I draw blanks.
Who's your favorite basketball player?
Devin Booker.
So I just proved that wrong.
It's
Go
different.
Ahead, though. You got
It's
it, though.
different. It's
Who's
different.
your favorite basketball team?
It's different. Okay, obviously that's
Who's your
different.
favorite college?
Like, sports teams is very different because you have to pick one.
For sure.
Right? Like, I've watched a lot more movies than I have sports
Oh, you don't
teams.
have to. I'm living proof of that, but I hear you.
Well, you are Chicago Bulls number one fan.
Knock it off.
Like I'm so bad at it, and I freeze at all of that.
Mm-hmm.
What
One
about
of
you?
my
You have a
favorite
movie?
movies in recent memory was, is he okay? No, he is not okay.
Oh no,
Kevin Durant down holding his left ankle.
Oh no. Getting up. Oh no. Oh my God, man.
When it rains, it pours, man. That's tough.
Well-
Okay, he's okay. Look like he just twisted it. I don't know the degree at which he twisted it, but
He's limping pretty heavy there.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so my favorite movie.
Oh,
Good
my
segue.
God.
Go ahead, you got it.
Guys, we will check in with Gerald after the game to get the latest update on Kevin Durant. Holy shit, this season is awful. Megan in the
tough.
chat says, yeah, don't ask Eric what his favorites are. Okay. So I want to get to everybody's questions, but I would feel like rude at this moment. But like, what are this? Like, if Kevin Durant's injured, man, do you just shut Devin Booker down for the season? Shut Bradley Beal down for the season? Just like say, fuck it. Like, because listen, worst case scenario right now is Kevin Durant has a long-term injury, right? Which means nobody's going to trade for him in the offseason and means that you don't know what his long-term health is going to look like, period. And you don't know if he's going to sign an extension with you. Bradley Beal, injured right now. And if he goes in the offseason injured, who knows if you're going to even be able to trade him, whether he's healthy or not. If Devin Booker gets injured over these next couple of games, like, I mean, everything that's gone wrong this season has gone wrong. Like, at what point do you just say, we're screwed, the 10th seed is not worth risking next season?
I think they firmly still desire to make the play-in. So that being said, their mindset is not going to shift, I don't think.
But it's a different, like, should and, like, could, like, I don't think that it would shift either, but it's like, is that the right move? It's the same thing as, like, Bradley Beal off the bench. It was like, oh, well, we don't know if they're ever going to bring Bradley Beal off the bench.
You should be trying to salvage as much out of this season as you possibly can, simply because not making the play-in does not help you in any capacity as far as picks go.
Yeah, but, you know, when somebody's, like, with gambling, they're like, man, I'm down $300, but if I just hit one hand...
I mean, that's where Matt Isby is right now.
No.
Yeah, it's tough. That's tough.
Oh, man. Teddy with a $4.99 super chat before the Durant injury. Thank you, Teddy says, why am I watching Colin Gillespie ISOs? LMAO, they quit. Ooh, that looks bad.
That is a good roll, not in a good way. That's tough. I know KD is someone that consistently tapes his ankles up somewhat moderately, if not heavily already as is, because he wears low-top shoes for the most part, or mids at best. So that's tough. That's tough.
Season from hell. I've gotten like the wind taken out of me.
Yeah, that's tough.
All right, let's go back to answering some questions. I'll start up at the top. You never got to answer your favorite movie.
Dark Knight. The Dark Knight Rises is one of them for me. I still remember watching it in the movie theater. The intro was everything. Enter the Spider-Universe. It was really good.
Yes, underrated pick.
That one was fire. Spider-Man 2. I remember going to see that one in the movie theater as well.
Spider-Man fire.
That one was fire. Naturally for me, also like Mike, I also remember going to see that in the movie theaters. Like Mike was a lot of fun. I feel like Creed, all of the Creed movies.
You like the Creeds? I haven't watched the Creed ones.
The more modern, the more current
the modern ones.
Yeah. With Michael B. Shout out Michael B.
ALDS said that tickets are not refundable. It says, even if a star is not playing, can you refund in advance? I'm not from the US. I don't know the rules. No, once you buy the tickets, you can resell, but you can't get and refund it. That's why so many people have a problem with load management. Pete asked, what do I predict the Diamondbacks win-loss record to be this season?
There's a lot of attention around them.
I think they're going to be really good. Okay. That's a lot of games, so I don't know for sure. A lot of games. But the Diamondbacks are so much fun, man. Yeah. I really do. I love me some Diamondbacks baseball. I
think they could probably get.
I gotta go to a game when the Cubs come through.
I think their ceiling is 100-ish.
Yeah,
I can get us tickets to a game.
Okay.
I got a homie who works there.
Okay.
Took Megan to opening night. It was a good time. Suns lost. Suns lost. Sorry. Just ingrained in my mental. Let's
That's
see
what
here.
we call trauma.
Rick also asked, who do I want to be the next head coach of ASU Hoops? I would have loved Richard Pitino before he went and got the job at, is it Xavier or Villanova? I think it was Villanova he got the job at, replacing Sean Miller. Honestly, man, you're going to have to probably go scoop somebody up from a lower level college and try to revitalize this program. But I just don't want Bobby.
Coach Molly for the women's side.
Oh,
is
she's
about
gonna
to
be great.
shift some things.
Yeah.
I don't know if people know too much about her outside of the stuff that's circling social media, but she's a dog, first of all caps, in the most endearing way. And she is going to get players that are going to be hounds on defense. That's going to be very much a brand of basketball to Arizona women's. And would not be surprised if they mess around and make the tournament next season.
No, I mean, next season is going to be a quick turnaround because they also have to give her the resources, and I know there's a resource problem.
But I still think that even with that, the culture identity shift, especially for the impact that a coach has on college basketball,
100%.
That's why I think that it's unprecedented in some ways, but if anyone's going to do it, it's her with the gravity she has.
Yeah, I'm really excited for the future of the women's program. The post-Charlie Turner-Thorne era for ASU women's basketball has been really rough. And so we're hoping that this can be the turnaround that's needed. And she fits the mold of the Kenny Dillinghams, the Greg Powers of the world that are super excited, not just about her program, but ASU. Maria asked, why do the Suns lose in embarrassing fashion every time they're on national TV? Because they suck. Well says, if you, and we're going to answer everybody's questions. Don't worry, guys. I'm just going down the list in order. Says, if you were about to be in a bar fight and current Suns players showed up to defend and fight with you, who would you want it to be?
To fight with us?
Yeah. And current Suns players in a bar fight. Mason Plumlee. Mason Plumlee.
If that's your if we just pick one player, that's who you going with?
And Mason Plumlee. Yeah.
You got Mason? Okay.
Who would you take? Not a lot of real scrappers on this team.
You know, I think KD would surprise people.
Got the reach.
Yeah, that reach and the wingspan is insane. If it's not KD for me, give me Cody.
Okay, I like that.
Give me Cody Martin.
I like that. I like the Cody shout.
Gotta bring one of the blue collar boys into this.
All right. Damn, my chat just refreshed. Now I gotta go up. Just a lot. I'm just rewatching the reaction to the KD injury. And it's
speaking of movies, Moneyball was fascinating to watch.
Moneyball is a great movie.
Moneyball was very good.
The Social Network was also Brad Pitt. Social Network was also a really good movie. Megan, my lovely wife, has a question for us. Says, who do you think the best athlete any sport in the entire world is, current or past? The greatest overall athlete of all time.
LeBron James.
I think LeBron is certainly in that conversation. I think LeBron can definitely be number one. I think
Travis Hunter is quickly entering that conversation.
But I think he's got to do a little bit more.
If he comes into the league playing both sides of the ball and not really taking plays off.
I think Bo Jackson.
Bo Jackson is definitely in that mix.
Bo Jackson is up there for sure.
Deion Sanders is 100% in that mix.
Deion Sanders for sure.
Michael Jordan is in that mix. Bill Russell is in that mix. Wilt Chamberlain is in that mix.
Katie Ledecky.
Olympic level athletes that are playing one specific sport but could excel at multiple.
I think Katie Ledecky and Michael Phelps.
Yep, Michael Phelps
are in there.
Could.
Serena.
Yeah, for sure.
Usain Bolt in his prime. God, Usain Bolt was so fast.
For sure.
Dion is a good answer. MJ. I think MJ is a good answer.
There's so many women's gymnasts they could be named over the past 20, 30 years.
I think Simone Biles is probably top
Gabby
5.
Douglas is right there in that mix as well.
I think
like
Simone
there's just
is top
so many.
5.
There's so many gymnasts.
Yeah.
I feel like gymnasts don't get the appreciation they should for the athleticism that they have.
Because they're only on a national stage every 4 years.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, being a gymnast,
the
is
athletic
incredibly
demands
hard.
on their particular field of work, nothing else can compare to it. Like genuinely, nothing else can compare to it.
Yeah,
so,
gymnasts are on another level.
Shout out all the gymnasts. Jordan Childs, Suni Lee. Shout out all of y'all.
Fourth and Long says, Beal or the Titanic?
My top 2 movies of all time:
Mhm.
Django Unchained and Goodfellas.
Django Unchained was insane.
You could honestly most of Quentin Tarantino.
I was just about to
movies.
say, when
Big.
if Q is producing, it's gonna be a classic.
Yeah.
Every time.
Pete says, legit question, where is Bol in the doghouse?
Yeah.
Wow Factor says, what's the latest on Beal? Is he being punished now? Also, Bol is now getting more minutes than Cody's. I think he probably means Cody's getting more than Bol. Maria says, not a good way to end my night. Milov said, Rockets by 50 might actually happen. I was joking. LOL.
That's why we don't speak on the things that we don't want to see. Backwards manifesting.
Jackie Robinson is a good shout for greatest athletes.
Jackie for sure. Yeah.
Wilt Chamberlain, one of the greatest overall athletes of all time.
I would say Michael Vick and Lamar Jackson, because I don't think people the running, yes, but I don't think people understand, not most people at least, how hard it is to play the quarterback position.
For sure.
It's not, there's a lot of bodies you got to account for. A lot of plays you are in charge of everything. You have coaches relaying messages to you and whatnot, but you're literally pulling all the strings.
I think Cam
Newton's in that mix for sure.
Cam Newton.
Cam is in that mix.
I was listening to a show, and they were talking about if every single NFL number 1 pick was lined up with no hindsight, just coming out of college, who goes 1-1 in an all-time draft? And so maybe instead of doing NFL, for the NBA, no knowing about their overall careers, only knowing what happens up to when they're able to get drafted. Number 1 pick. Who's going number 1? And you can only pick from everybody, I guess, who went number 1 overall, because they were, except for Anthony Bennett, the consensus number 1 or whatever, because it'd be easy to be like Michael Jordan, right? But going into that draft,
it might be Wilt, man.
It might be Wilt.
It might be Wilt, for real.
Might be LeBron.
It might be LeBron, and it might be Wilt, though, for me. If it's my pick, I probably might go with Wilt, and I'm not a LeBron James hater at all.
Otani's a good shout for best athlete.
Yeah, if you're pitching and hitting, switching, and all of that, yeah.
Otani's one of the greatest athletes that's ever walked this planet.
Yeah, that's insane. Without a doubt.
Also gotta mention Tyreek Hill.
Oh,
Cheetah's insane.
Coming out of college,
if you're competing on Olympic trial for races, same thing for DK Metcalf, but also playing football, you're a different athlete. Odell wasn't doing that in particular, but Odell is very much a freak athlete in terms of the sport. If you want to get to the sports science things,
for sure,
tracking the ball and hand-eye coordination and all of this, he's got it for sure. Reggie Bush was a very, very plus athlete. I think they said he could have been on one of the relay teams for the Olympics back then or something along the lines of that. There's a handful of sprinters,
Kareem,
men and women's side, they could be in that mix as well over the years.
So here are the players that I think are in conversation with, again, no knowing about the career that they will go on to have. The overall number 1 pick in an all-time NBA draft. I think Kareem, Wilt, LeBron, Shaq. Gotta be a guard in there, huh? John Wall? John Wall was called coming out of college.
Nate Robinson was a freak athlete.
No.
Nate was a freak athlete.
But there was never,
He played college football.
Sorry, different conversation.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about the top 5 pick in an all-time NBA draft.
I
was like, come on, man.
No, I'm throwing out names.
No, I got you.
They played
you.
football in
Jim
college
Thorpe.
and basketball. Yeah, Jim is another great
Jim
call.
Thorpe. Nate Robinson, great call. It's funny, we're talking about multi-sport athletes.
Allen Iverson.
Jim Brown.
Jim Brown, Jim Brown's a good one.
Charlie Ward.
AI with the play, and it was high school football, right? He was like a quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks in Pennsylvania history.
They wanted him to play in college, and
Kyler?
John Thompson was like, "Nah, he good."
Kyler Murray.
Yeah,
I know people want to hate on him, but
sure.
Heisman winner and a first-round pick in the MLB. So good at baseball, they had to write it into his contract that he was not going to go play baseball.
Underratedly, Pat Connaughton.
Yo, actually though,
Antonio Gates.
Yeah, Antonio hooped and played basketball at I forgot. Kent State. Yep.
Oh wait, there was somebody that I was thinking of. It's funny. So this person's obviously not in the conversation, but there's this guy who played in the MLB and he was like 26. And then went back and started playing college football because he never went to college and went straight to the MLB.
That's
so
crazy.
He was 26 with 4 years of eligibility remaining.
That's crazy. Shout out to that man.
Yeah. 106-70. The Suns are playing a game, by the way. Knights asks, what's our worst loss of the season?
Might be looking at it right here for
this
real.
one.
That Boston game
Friday
was
night.
very much up there. Friday night
Wednesday
was up
night.
there. The last time
This is maybe the worst 3-game stretch after the best 4-game stretch.
The last time before the last time they played the Minnesota Timberwolves and the way they melted down, that was embarrassing. That game against Oklahoma City earlier this season where they had like 70 field goal attempts. Attempts, not makes, attempts. That was up there for sure.
This sucks, guys.
Yeah, it's tough. That's exactly why we appreciate y'all tapping in with us.
Oh, yeah. You guys are the absolute best. Without a doubt. Real psychos and sickos hours. Remember, we will be doing a full post-game show. Gerald will be calling in from PHNX Arena. Megan wants to know our biggest fears. Death. I do not want to die.
I mean, we come into this world knowing that we're going to leave at some point, though.
Okay, but I'm not like arguing about what's going to happen, but I don't
sure.
have to like it.
For sure. I'm not arguing against it either. I was just throwing it out
forward
there.
to it. What's your
For
biggest fear? Bad basketball?
Well,
this?
Lord knows.
Moving
Lord
across the
knows.
country
We've
to
been
cover a
seeing it.
shit basketball team?
We've been seeing it a lot this season, boy. I really, honestly, this is not even trying to be like super tough or whatever. I don't really have too many fears just because I'm so aligned with my faith that I really just don't kind of entertain the fear side of things. But one thing I guess I would say I fear is not feeling accomplished when my time comes. Feeling like I left things on the table. Not even that, just like not checking off as many boxes as I possibly can. I feel like I wouldn't be honoring the blessings that I've been given back in ways that show gratitude how I would want to if I didn't do that. So that's probably where I lie on that spectrum.
DT asks, which team's future is more dire, Suns or 76ers?
Well, the Sixers' best player can't stay healthy, and neither can their second best player and second highest paid player right now. So,
yeah, and the 76ers do have Jared McCain, Tyrese Maxey, right? Like
sure.
Really young, up and coming guards that you can get excited about. They're in a tough spot. I mean, both teams are in a tough spot, but Joel Embiid at his peak is and healthy is a top 5 player in this league. Which is something the Suns don't have. Yeah. It's just sad.
Yeah, it's tough.
Seven says biggest fear is Suns basketball. T says the Sixers' future is worse.
I think the Sixers' future is worse too.
Yeah, I mean, not having the picks. Have they mortgaged all their picks? I know that OKC has some of their picks.
I'm not as familiar with their pick situation as other teams, but
let me look.
I know they're not in the best situation for sure. And that's why them not being able to win to a certain level hurts as well. It's like compounding for them.
Future draft picks, 2025, they have a second rounder, so they don't have the first round pick this year, which wait, no, that's not true, is it?
What's that?
No, it's Miami who has to make the playoffs to keep their picks. Sorry, I got all that mixed up. They do have a first rounder next year via Houston, OKC, or the Clippers. OKC will receive the 2 most favorable of its 2026 first round picks. Jeez, dude, OKC is so good. They have their own pick in 2026 and 2028 in the first round. They do not have a 2027 first round pick. They also have the Clippers 2028 first round pick with no protection. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, so they have I think a better draft capital future, but the injury problems are also are also concerning.
Mhm.
Both teams are in a really tough position right now.
At least for the Suns, the injury issue persists with their third best player right now, rather than one of their top two. So it could be a lot worse as far as that goes.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you, PK. Thank you. I have that in a t-shirt. Thanks, Pete, Bramble, Megan, Maria. Hello there. Optical Illusion, T, ALDS, Gina, Ric Flair, Kaylee, Z-Head, Beefy McFly. Ooh, that's a good name. Sean says this season sucks because we're not even in the play-in or the playoffs or the lottery.
Facts.
Yeah. Ziad said he gets your feeler of not being fulfilled. Bramble 1991 Soto says no playoffs for the Suns. Laughing emojis. Wendell says Reed Shepherd finally getting minutes. LOL. Philly's tanking to keep their pick, right? Isn't it? I thought they had their pick this year protected, but it doesn't say that on Fanspo. But I could have sworn that they had their pick this year.
Check on
2025 to San Antonio.
Check on Real GM.
Yeah, I'm okay. So I'm on Real GM.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's Atlanta Hawks. Okay. Philadelphia 76ers. Yeah,
Johnny
they have
Landale.
1 through 6. They have their own pick protected 1 through 6. OKC gets their pick 7 to 30. Those assholes, man.
I'm not mad at Sam Presti. If you finesse or be finessed, and he is very much on the forward and the ladder.
Man, this game is just pathetic.
Who is the best player that they could turn those picks into? That's a good question for us to kind of break up things.
Cooper Flag. If they don't get the number 1 pick this year, which they could, cash in. No, okay. I'm being serious. I'm being serious right now.
For sure.
I think Bill Simmons brought this up because
it's not unrealistic.
How many first-round picks would you cash in to add Cooper Flag to the Oklahoma City Thunder? And if you were the team who got the number 1 pick, how many would it take for you to get off?
Well, for OKC, you can give them all up. Obviously, you won't have to, but you would mortgage probably half of that treasure trove, because
would you do it?
They already decided not to pivot to a superstar at the last 2 trade deadlines when people felt like they should have went after insert superstar name here. They're very much okay with their process, even if they don't win a chip this season. They're very much process. At
a certain point, they're going to have to trade picks, though. They're not going to have enough roster spots. No, like genuinely. Like, I'm not even making a joke.
They will.
Plumlee with the dunk. Suns to 78. I'm going to die.
And what was the other part of the question?
Like, on both sides, if you had the number 1 overall pick and you had the chance to get Cooper Flag, how many unprotected first-round picks would it take for you to pass on Cooper Flag, who I think is going to be a star?
To pass on him?
Yeah. And remember, OKC could have a top 10 pick in this draft, and you'd probably be getting that.
It would have to be like a solid 6 or 7. Most teams don't have that in their back pocket, but that's what it would take. It would take something along the lines of that, and probably some young talent in addition to it, too.
Yeah. David with the 1999 super chat. Thank you so much, David says, got blessed last week, waited to share till it was needed. Last year really sucked recovering from an amputation. One of my only good days was the Detroit game with PHNX. Things suck right now, but things change fast. What you do matters. Thank you, David.
Appreciate you,
That
David.
was some good vibes and good news. I'm glad to hear that you're doing a little better, and appreciate you tuning in. And we love being here for this community. You know, I mean, listen, man, this season is awful. I will never stop being a Phoenix Suns fan. Steven will never stop being a basketball sicko and psycho and obsessed with covering this team and being the best for this team. And, you know, this is not the season that we expected it to be in more ways than one. But we do this because of and thanks to all of you guys that watch once, watch twice, watch every single show. Like, that means a lot to us, especially, like, I know for Steven and I, we've been doing stuff like this for a long time. We've been doing it for a lot less people, you know? And so even when the things are not great going on with this team, like, having a community like this just makes it so much better. And David, I'm just so glad to hear that things are going a little better for you. Just would love to just stay up to date with your road to recovery. And I'm glad that you got blessed last week, and just happy for you, man.
I appreciate your perspective on life.
Facts.
It's not easy. And no one could blame you for thinking either direction in terms of your perspective on life after such a thing happening to you. So you having that type of fortitude speaks a lot to your character. And I hope that you continue to be blessed with anything that you have coming forward with the future and just generally just living life. Keep finding ways to enjoy it regardless of what might be going on.
Maybe you find joy in Bull checking in.
That goes for everybody. Yeah, for sure.
All it took was a 45-point lead, baby.
Yeah.
Was it 45? It's a 35. 35-point lead. Excuse me. Sorry, guys.
It has gotten up to 40, though.
Yeah, I mean, of course. Stefano says this disaster of a season can't end fast enough. Riddleouche says, did the Suns take the night off? This score is horrible. Even worse, they didn't take the night off.
Biggest Rockets lead so far was 41.
Jeez.
They still got 9 minutes left in this one.
Milo says, Plumpy shoots free throws like a 4-year-old at Chuck E. Cheese. That's crazy. Max says he's tired of this shit. Me too, Max. This says prayers up for Katie, for sure.
Absolutely. Cam Whitmore.
Season saved. Apparently the fans went crazy for Bull.
I believe it.
Maria says, this show is how I became a Suns fan. I was looking for distractions after my mom passed away and stumbled on this podcast years ago, would watch faithfully, and then became a Suns fan. Wow.
We appreciate you, Maria.
That is
glad
awesome,
we can
Maria.
Glad we can help to be an outlet for you and anybody else that tunes in consistently.
It's an escape.
Man, things we never take for granted are those things exactly.
Wow. Yeah. That is that makes my heart swell like the Grinch. Like, sorry, I know I tried to make a joke there, but genuinely, thank you.
Mason. Why?
ALDS says, Eric says, we're grateful for having a community like this, a community of masochists. Somebody asked, can we get Bob Myers? Would that be possible? I think it's possible.
It's definitely
Does he want to come
possible.
Here? I think he would.
As adamantly as he's expressed the ways he would go about doing his job, should he actually be in the job for the Suns, I would say he would enjoy the I think he looks at roster building as a project, like genuinely. And looking at, oh my goodness, another Cam Whitmore breakaway dunk.
I'm sorry, but you might need to go back and watch Bull on that play. Bull might have had the slowest, most unathletic jog to the corner I've ever seen from the top of the key. Like seriously, I think it took him like 6 seconds to get there, and then he stood there and put his hands on his knees and bent over.
No, down bad it's got to be the Suns are literally using B-roll of Rockets highlights as a transition into a timeout for this game.
P asked, what was the Suns' worst loss of all time? 48-point loss to the San Antonio Spurs. I was in attendance at this game. I was in attendance at the 2 games. So the 2017-2018 season, that was the 50-year anniversary. And I was at opening night when the Phoenix Suns played the Portland Trail Blazers, and they lost 124-76. I sat in the last row, and I watched them lose by 48 points. Then, for Christmas, I asked my parents if they could get me tickets to the Suns game, and they got me tickets to Suns Spurs. And the Suns lost by 48 points. So I was in attendance to the, oh my God, I was in attendance for all 3 of the biggest losses of all time. Because the third one was Warriors Suns 2017-2018, and I was at that game too. I didn't know that. I did not know that.
That was the Warriors game was opening night?
No, the opening night was the Portland game. February 12th was the Warriors game.
That was when they had the 20-0.
That was
whatever. Yeah. Okay.
There was a game that season that we played them close. I think we actually beat.
Yeah, y'all beat.
I think we beat them.
They won in Golden State, I believe. Actually.
Yeah, they won. I think near the end of the season in Golden State. But I just learned a fun fact about myself. I have been in attendance to all 3 of the Phoenix Suns' biggest losses of all time.
Eric just said blame him. Y'all heard it here first.
Mark says, oh, Pete was at that Blazers game too. Hell yeah. I remember taking a Snapchat of myself and just being like 50 years of nothing but no championships and disappointments, which, I mean, wasn't true, but I was just a jaded fan. And I said, well, they might lose by 50 every night. Somebody was asking me a question. Mark says, next year can't be worse, right?
Stay tuned. Find out on another episode.
Yeah. Primary says, opening night 2018, Suns beat the Mavs. Yes, 2018-2019. Suns beat the Mavs. I'm talking about the 2017-2018 season that gave them DeAndre Ayton. Also a little known fact, because of course, why would anybody know this? I was in the arena for that game when the Suns beat the Mavs, and I vividly remember DeAndre Ayton spin move and one on Luka Doncic at the beginning of the game, and I'm like, oh, we made the right pick. Look at us.
So, moral of today's live stream, Eric, prior to last season, had been to every single Phoenix Suns home game.
Not true. But I think I am cursed because as soon as I start covering this team.
Yeah, I hear you.
I am cursed. Michael with another $1.99 super chat. Thanks for all the super chats, Michael. As we get a little Damian Lee, Mason Plumlee lob time, baby. Showtime at Footprint Center. Sorry. It says Katie out now. Suns have no play-in hope. Yeah, if Katie's gone, we're fucked anyway.
Yeah, that's tough.
Sports Hero says, Eric, was it hurts more, this game or the Mavericks blowout? The Mavericks blowout in Game 7 of the playoffs definitely hurts more than this.
1,000%.
Kaylee says, no one let Eric pick watch-along games. I mean, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's tough.
ALDS says, Suns should get Nico for GM if they want to compete for a 3 to 4 year window. No, I would like not to have Nico on my team. Hello there says you guys are coming back.
He'll be available to choose from soon.
Vasa Micic will save the Suns.
There you go, D-Lee.
It is baseball season in Phoenix.
It's true.
Somebody says, how did Vogel win 49 games with this roster last year? Or this team last year? I'd say a worse roster last year, honestly.
With the injury issues and whatnot, hard to argue against that.
We will be doing a post-game show. And we will probably not be talking much more about this specific game in this stream because we have a long show to do after this and a lot to break down. So if you guys want to keep asking questions, they could be basketball related questions, personal related questions, whatever it is. Would love to talk to you guys. Noah, I don't know if you have anything that's on your heart and on your mind.
What?
Yeah, I just saw you zoning out and I wanted to call you out.
Well, no, I was watching the game actually.
Oh yeah, what do you think of this game?
Vasa Micic might be one of the slowest players I've ever seen. But he kind of can control
slower
the rock.
feet, but his mind is quick.
Yeah, 100%. Bull looks pretty bad though.
Yep. How are you feeling, Steven?
Confused.
Why? How are you confused?
Because winning is hard, but I don't feel like it has to be as complicated as the Suns have made it this season in multiple respects. And
why you gotta go and make things so complicated?
I mean, literally losing this bad and what? Three straight now?
Yeah.
I mean, it's arguably harder than winning a game. Like, this is... How do you even get to this point?
Mm-hmm.
Like, look who is on the court right now and how much time is on the clock. It's insane.
Yeah, this is definitely something.
I have a question that maybe we'll answer in postgame. Is this the last time that we ever see Kevin Durant in a Phoenix Suns uniform? Have we watched the final KD game?
No, I think KD will still be here. I think Bradley Beal opens up to waiving his no-trade clause come the offseason. That naturally allows the Suns an opportunity to both build a better roster around their top two players, but also duck the second tax apron, which gives them more flexibility with all things pertaining to the salary cap. And I think those things bode well in their favor in terms of being better going into next season.
All right. We'll answer some of your guys' questions here in a second. In case you didn't know, I'm also running our social media right now. So there's a lot going on.
Noah, what you think about your Pistons this upcoming playoffs?
Oh
How
my
you
God.
feeling heading into it?
Extremely confident. More like I'm definitely a little bit of a delusional Pistons fan.
Mhm.
Like when we were in the playoffs with Andre Drummond, Tobias Harris, Reggie Jackson. I was like,
Blake
we're
Griffin.
gonna beat the Cavs. But
sure.
I honestly think that this team can go pretty far, especially because they don't get a whole lot of calls, and Cade doesn't require fouls to be a part of his game.
Mhm.
And playoffs, I think there's a lot more physical play. A lot of those, like Shea, those kind of guys might have a little bit more trouble getting those calls. So I don't know. I think they got a good chance.
What's their ceiling for them this season?
Ceiling, probably Eastern Conference Finals.
Who is your preferred first round matchup if you have one? Thinking Boston,
Indiana.
Milwaukee, Indiana,
Just because of
New York,
how
or not Boston. I mean Indiana, New York, Milwaukee. Yeah.
I think we'd have the most trouble with Indiana, but man, it would be fun.
Mhm.
That'd be
Okay.
awesome.
Enough Pistons talk. It's depressing me.
We gotta talk about something positive.
Yeah, I know, but that's why it's depressing me. Let's get some questions in here. Wow Factor says, what are our thoughts on Taylor Jenkins, Bob Myers, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Naz Reid, and McDaniels plus 3 picks for KD? So Taylor Jenkins, new coach, Bob Myers, new GM, and then for KD, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Naz Reid, McDaniels, and 3 picks.
I don't think they would be giving up Jaden McDaniels, which makes that trade a whole lot tougher to facilitate. But also, they could probably get a little bit more because the Timberwolves will have to be giving up Julius Randle in that trade too, which complicates what actually is going to be coming to Phoenix in that trade template.
Yeah.
It's not a bad return though if you're talking about.
I don't hate it. It depends on the
season.
picks though. 3 picks can mean a lot.
Yeah.
3 unprotected first round picks. We might be talking something.
I still don't know if Taylor is the coach for the Suns.
Yeah.
I think he's a great coach. I think I've quite literally said that each time the Suns have played the Grizzlies this season, but that's a completely different team that he was coaching down there in Memphis. It's not the same as having the level of talent that Devin Booker and Kevin Durant are.
Another question. PHX asked, realistically, what can the Suns get for KD? I think you're looking at, realistically, a couple picks and either a win-now player or a couple picks and a few young gun players to try to replace some depth. You're not going to get what you gave up for him.
No.
That's for sure. Let's see here. So many comments. Thank you guys all for the comments. Remember, we will be doing a post-game show after this as well. We'll be talking about maybe this is the last time we see KD in a Suns uniform, what went wrong tonight, what are the odds for the next couple of games the Suns can even bounce back, where they stand in the playoffs. Just all the most really fun, awesome stuff that's going on with this team right now.
Mason Plumlee with a steal.
Also, Mark with a good point on what we get for KD is, there you go, Bull. We won't really know until somebody disappoints in the playoffs and they maybe become desperate.
Well, I think the same suitors that we saw at the trade deadline are the same teams we're going to see spin the block on KD, come to the Suns' front door, knocking the check temperatures as far as that goes. And it'll be on the Suns to be 10 toes down about whichever decision it is. Do not play the fence because that's what got you in this position that you're in right now.
All righty. Alston says, do you guys think the Suns should draft Derek Queen or that 6'6" point guard Kasparis Yakusionis? I don't know that guy. Derek Queen's good. I like Derek Queen. I don't know if they're going to be able to get him with a high enough pick. That's the thing, is they're going to be picking at the end of the first round, and I think Derek Queen will be gone by then.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is, are those picks going to really be available when the Suns' turn comes around? Remains to be seen, but...
Nate says, now let's just talk about good basketball. I don't care about what team. Maria says, if Willie Green left New Orleans, would he potentially be a good coach for the Suns? I would love for Willie Green to be back here. You hesitate.
Yeah, because Willie's definitely been good, but all coaches are not cut to coach a top-heavy team like the Suns,
Mm-hmm.
meaning having a system that they're going to buy into, being able to have a relationship with those two that allows for you to coach them in the ways you need them to get the most out of them, but also the team. And also being able to establish a culture in addition to all of that. Like, a lot of people, when they think coaches, think calling plays and whatnot, but there's so much more than just the X's and O's. Like the culture piece that I'm speaking to. That's why different strokes for different folks. Some coaches are good at certain things, and that's why they're good with certain types of teams. Monty Williams, for example, very great with the culture, very great with building relationships. The X's and O's stuff left something to be desired at times. The adjustments in game left something to be desired at times. You get into a win-out situation when the team trades for Kevin Durant to double down on what was already a team that went to the finals, and the first decision that the office decides to make is to transition to another head coach.
Maria wants to know, can we talk coaches in front office in the post game? Maybe a little bit, but there will be whole episodes dedicated to all that in the offseason, especially once we have some clarity on what's going forward. Wow Factor does ask, though, what about Ty Lue if they get knocked out? He won't stay if Kawhi is always unavailable. The Clippers love Ty Lue, and they'll do everything in their power to keep him. I think you'd have to trade for him. But Ty Lue would be my number one pick. If I could just pick a coach, I would pick Ty Lue.
Yeah, definitely.
Lead is up to 41 now for Houston.
We are on worst
41.
loss in history watch, by the way.
This is the margin of defeat?
Yeah, the Suns, I'm going to tweet this. Suns' biggest margin of defeat in history is 48, for those who are wondering. Right? When they lost this is a little inside baseball here, to Portland and San Antonio by that amount.
Well, for anybody that had questions about the Houston Rockets come playoff time, not saying that you should think they're going to do this in the playoffs, but to show you how serious they are, the urgency they're playing with, they're ready. You show me a team that plays defense at an elite level, that rebounds at an elite level, and that causes turnovers at an elite level, and I will point to a team that is going to be good come playoff time. Would not be surprised if we end up seeing the Houston Rockets in the conference finals.
Just a reminder to all the 200 people in here.
Another Cam Whitmore.
We will be doing a post-game show. I'm going to drop the link for that in our chat. I'm going to pin it as well. So make sure that you guys tap in with that. I expect every single one of you over there hanging out with us. Join us live after the game. Man, welcome to the PHNX Suns watch along where I just talk out loud what I'm doing. William says no more NBA retreads. I don't hate that either. I would like some fresh blood. Sam Cassell would be nice.
Yep, Sam was near the top of my list after Becky Hammond and Tyronn Lue, as far as next head coaches if I had a pick.
All right, guys, we're going to start to wind things down here on the PHNX Suns watch along. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit subscribe as well. Alan says you should never get blown out from home. Well, you should never be this bad with the highest payroll in NBA history. But we're going to be breaking down every single moment from this game. What's next going forward? The injury status of Kevin Durant. Gerald will be calling live from PHNX Arena. And we will all cry together. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. I pinned the link to our post-game show. Oh, my goodness. I typed it in the post-game show. That's so funny. Let me remove this message. Drop in the link now. Sorry, guys. I'm just so silly. Make sure you click on that link. Hang out with us. Come talk some hoop and cry together. We will see you guys in a couple of minutes once we get set up.
We all silly like the mayor.